Mm, mm, mm. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Hey. Here I go. So, um, I just wanted to start by saying, that if the content on this channel seems quite random, it's probably because I have no clue what the channel is going to be about yet. I don't know if anybody is going to even think it is interesting. I might just have like 2 subscribers, like my mom and my dad. Love y'all. I just thought I would use it kind of as like a way to document my own life, my own reflections, and have it as kind of like a visual journal that I could use to just look back at and remember the people and the places and the moments and the magic, just how much I love life and always love people and community and all these things. So that's probably where it's going. I don't know exactly what that means, but just excited to start and like see where it takes me. So today I just wanted to reflect on basically, sorry if there's a lot of noise in the background, but basically I just wanted to reflect on life's transitions, because right now I'm going through one of my own, and I guess this is kind of like my first major transition since I turned 20, which is graduating from university. Well, I hope, right? I still have 1 month left, and basically have had to finish my thesis, and I'm still I handed in the first draft. Yay! So I currently attend Quest University Canada, which is on the west coast of Canada, in a place called Squamish, which is on the unceded territories of the Squamish peoples. And I was able to live there for the last 3 years, basically. And what I really liked about Quest, besides just the people and the community, sorry, just went out. The connections I was able to make there, was that Quest was kind of the only place that I saw the kind of innovation and education that I was looking for. So I was looking for so many different universities, and I actually only applied to Quest. So basically what Quest does is, instead of having a major for yourself, you create a question for yourself. So you use a month throughout the maybe the first 2-3 years of your education, where you just focus on creating a question that kind of like speaks to your academic interest. In my case, my question was, how do the forces of globalization influence Caribbean voices and identities? So looking very much at cultural studies, at critical theory, and just drawing on my experience from growing up back home in St. Martin, and just like my love for my people and for my region. And so my thesis was basically about how I can make kind of all the stuff, the kind of interesting stuff that I had learned at school about colonialism and capitalism, and that I want to continue to learn, more accessible to people. And I decided to look at a dance production as the case study of how that's being done. So my friend Jonathan Van Arneman, if you're watching this, you the bomb. Basically created this dance production called Atlantis Rebirth that explores topics of colonialism and identity, history, all these things, and futurity. What does the future look like for Caribbean people if they're able to explore their past in a more critically engaging way. So I was able to kind of analyze how that process impacted the participants, and I love that, and I feel like artists are like the people in our communities that we should really look towards for being able to unpack that. I did that. Now I'm doing classes online, which was great, because it sucks because COVID, pandemic, and just like needing to abruptly say goodbye to everybody on campus. Like that was just, I was distraught. But anyway, doing online classes meant that I could kind of give myself the opportunity to do stuff that I usually wouldn't be able to do. And so came to Lome, Togo for a few months to kind of improve my French and see my family, who have lived here for the last 40 years. And my mom also did high school here, before going to university in Ivory Coast. So it's just like a special place in terms of like my family's history, and I always wanted to come, so decided to come during this time because ¿por qué no? Yeah, no. ¿Por qué no? Yeah, no. But yeah, I feel like at any time of transition, right, like it's important to just kind of reflect. So also when I was 18, I decided to just take a gap year because I was like, what just happened in the last 18 years of life? What can I say about those years? How can I reflect on them? What did I learn from them? And now coming out to university, I guess it's a little bit different, a little more fast paced. You know, you're kind of trying to think of, you know, like how can I go into this next phase in my life and, you know, make a living and pay off my student debt and, you know, still be true to who I am and try to explore my more creative side. So there's just a lot that I'm kind of thinking about right now. Quest University actually gave me a lot to kind of take with me, and I also think like just Quest in general allowed me to really explore my academic interests a little bit more, and like to learn what it means to really think critically and to present well and write well and have like more meaningful, deeper conversations. But then like something really struck me recently, which is like, why did it take me 23 years you know, to get to a point where I really feel like I can have the space to think about these things? Because I think critical thinking and curiosity and community and all these things should be, you know, something that we foster very early on in life. And it made me start to realize like, okay, like in the classrooms that I had growing up, like I appreciate every single teacher that I had, right? Like I appreciate everybody that allowed me to become who I am today, through whether it's through school or community or whatever. But I feel like I wonder, you know, where was the space in our school syllabus, right, to be curious and to be creative and, you know, to not focus as much on grades and academic standards, and just be able to, you know, have conversations, like meaningful conversations, just talk, you know, and as an academic environment, like go beyond just textbooks and notebooks and all these things, but actually like, you know, create like, or really like foster the parts of people that are just human and going through a lot. Yeah, so I just been thinking a lot about what it means to foster those kinds of environments of community, critical thinking, curiosity, meaningful communication, and I think how we as adults in the community, or as future ancestors as well, you know, show up for the next generation in ways that allow for them to become their full selves and feel supported in that process. So I've been thinking about that a lot. But I also, you know, have been reflecting on how like it shouldn't have to take leaving your small community, in my case Samaritan or the Caribbean, and paying thousands of dollars to go to university to be able to even start to reflect on these things. Like we should be fostering these things at every step of, you know, somebody's life development and education. So stuff that I'm thinking about is stuff like that, and how to just like unlock the potential, especially of Samaritan people, of myself included, of my community, of my region. I just feel like we have so much to offer. So those are kind of reflections right now in terms of, you know, like how do I implement what I learned as I leave university into my future. I guess I'm just trying to figure out, you know, like what is my role in all of this, like this universe, this planet, this, you know, my region, my country, all these things, you know, how do I show up, how do I serve to my fullest capacity? I guess I am just still confused, you know. I feel like at 23 I should have a lot more figured out than I do, and you know, with thousands of euros in debt too, like you feel like you should just right away start to work and pay it off, and you know, like not necessarily, there's not much time to really explore who you are, what your talents could be, explore your creative energy, which is something I really wanted to be doing for the last few months now, but haven't really been able to get that opportunity to do so. So just trying to figure out how to do all these things, but also be able to sustain it in terms of like finances and all these things. So a little bit nervous about this transition period, but at the same time really grateful to have a supportive community and family, and I've been blessed to make certain connections that fulfill kind of all these sides of myself that I need to work on, you know, like people who keep me accountable, people who keep me focused, people who make me feel loved, people who make me laugh and you know, cry in really cleansing ways. I think my biggest achievement this far, and I'm trying to figure out what else my achievements will be, but one of my biggest ones is being able to find some of the most beautiful people in the world to support me along this journey of life. So I guess what I am trying to look forward to now is just being as open as I can be to whatever may be beyond the horizon of what I can see, even if it's not something I planned. And actually, I recently interviewed Ariana Huffington, and she said something that I thought was powerful. She said, life is a mixture of letting it happen and making it happen. So I'm trying to figure out that balance now for myself, you know, recognizing that, like, one, I'm only 23 and I'm not meant to necessarily have it all together just yet, and that maybe, you know, what's meant for me hasn't necessarily shown up in certain ways yet, and maybe that's just because, you know, it's not the right time, but at the same time it doesn't mean that I can't stop hustling, can't stop grinding, you know, just to get to the point where I can unlock that next level. Yeah, just trying to do my best to get to where I'm going, but at the same time be open to the fact that, like, my path could be completely different to what I thought it was gonna be. So yeah, I guess just some kind of final reflections on what I've been thinking about in terms of, you know, this transition period in life is to learn to trust the process, to set intention, love, and gratitude to your path, you know, regardless of where you're at on that journey. To be open to possibility, but also take creative approaches in order to create more possibility. And I think just continuously learning how to learn, right? You know, critical thinking, I think, is important, is an important part of lasting social change. So figuring out what your role is in the kind of social change landscape requires just being able to continuously be excited about learning, but also know that you're learning in ways that are effective and that lead you to something beautiful. And yeah, lastly, I think just the journey is not about just you. I think that's something that I personally find very important. Like, you need to make sure that you're taking actions towards creating and showing up for community in important ways. So with all these things in mind, I guess I just trying to, like, create my ideal life by being very intentional about, you know, like, what kind of people I want around me, what kind of community I want to surround myself with, what kind of things make my soul feel fulfilled, but also, I guess, like, what kind of stuff kind of crushes my heart, you know, because it's just so tough to see whatever that may be for you, you know, like, it's a lot of things for me, like colonialism, capitalism, poverty, all these things that I feel like they're also interconnected, and I know that, like, obviously we can't fight every single battle, but trying to figure out where you might fit best in there, you know, like facilitator, teacher, artist, creative, whatever it might be, like, you have a space, you have a role to play. Anyway, yeah, just trying to figure out how to fuse the creative and the social action and the, you know, like, wanting to be financially sustainable, of course, and yeah, just all these things coming together just make me want to live a more want to just be very intentional about these years of my life, and that's about it. Just thought I would drop this little reflection. I don't know if other people are going through kind of their own transition periods and what kind of reflections they've been having about that. I know, like, I feel like especially the pandemic has really changed a lot of things for people, and kind of set people on new paths, or allowed them to break away from old paths in different ways. So yeah, I guess that's just kind of my reflection question right now. Like how do you meaningfully and intentionally move forward? That's it. LOVE, I love you all. Goodbye. What?